Okay, and then Cap, can you join? And then mention everyone in.
You mention it all.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I
How you
got
doing,
it.
dude? You guys talk amongst yourself while I quickly do this. I mean, it's just gonna be
Listen, someone came and instantly left. Feels bad. Feels bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think we set the ante too high with the previous podcast to guest stars, and now it's just us, and it's like underwhelming.
No. You have to keep them engaged as a join in. Welcome.
They're already gone. So no one's here, man. It's us. At the moment, they'll be engaged. Don't worry, be thoroughly engaged. Hey guys, welcome. How are we doing?
Do not
We've got a
leave.
few interesting people showing up. Do not leave. We've been seen. Your names have been written down.
Yeah, if you leave, you
Action
potentially
will be
might
taken
end up being
accordingly.
banned. Right. Yeah.
Action will be taken accordingly, instantly.
Yeah, cool. Welcome. So this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. I know a bunch of you are probably new to fitness or new to the server, maybe been lurking. So just feel free to stay, ask your questions, and we'll make sure to go through as much as possible. Raise your hand if you want to come up to the panel. If not, we'll just potentially keep talking amongst ourselves. Yeah. Welcome.
Any fitness questions you like, guys? Any questions, advanced as you like, as basic or as advanced as you like to answer? Ask me. I've been in this for going on 14 years, so I've covered most things. Or we can just have a chat and talk about general fitness or general whatever, really.
Yeah.
Happy to do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And as AO says, if you ask a question, ask it out loud, you get the priority. If you type it out, AO will dislike you, but I'll read it out and it'll be fine anyway.
Yeah, if you type an essay. I mean, there's two people, so feel free to ask your questions. Come on.
If not, you can just give a topic and I'll just rant about that for a while if you like. If not, you're going to get all the people who annoyed me in my gym this week, so that's fine.
Okay, there's someone. Thank you, David. David the Goats. How you doing,
Yo,
dude?
guys. How you doing, guys? My question is, say if I'm like really skinny right now, what do I need to do to get to like really muscular?
Yeah, great question. So I started that myself. I got to 60 kilos when I started, now I'm about 76 or so per full muscle on. Basically, it's just doing the basics over time, unfortunately. So as long as you're strength training and you're using a hypertrophy rep range, which means doing sets of about 5 to 10 reps, probably do 2 or 3 sets of an exercise, and make sure you push hard on these sets. So you should be don't be the guy who's doing sets of 20 crossovers all the time, not getting a sweat on, just trying to get a pump. Make sure you work hard in those sets and make sure you get your protein in, plenty of calories. And it's just lather, rinse, repeat, to be honest.
What
It's just doing the basics
best,
over
like
time.
chicken and stuff. Chicken and stuff like the best, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get a protein supplement if you like protein powder. I didn't take it for the first 12 years of my lifting career, which people tend to not to be shocked by. But yeah, get some chicken in, try to get some protein in probably 3 times a day if you can. So Greek yogurt's great for breakfast, get some eggs in, chicken, any kind of meat you like. Don't worry about being too lean for that, especially if you're super skinny. And make sure you get some carbs in, get a lot of food in you.
Yeah. So what workouts can I do in the gym as well? What's on workout?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you want to figure out how often you want to be in the gym. Are you a beginner?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how old are you roughly, if you don't mind sharing?
I'm 16.
16, brilliant. I started lifting at 16, excellent age for it. So what I'd do if I were you, I would start training 4 days a week in the gym. I would do 2 days training my upper body and 2 days training my lower body, and I'd alternate them. So first day upper body, second day lower body. So 4 days a week, make sure you have a rest days in there. Maybe train upper body Monday, lower body Tuesday, have Wednesday off, then do Thursday and Friday if you like, or Friday, Saturday, whichever you feel like. Make sure you get some big movements in, so some pressing upper body. So you're pressing upper body, pulling upper body, and some assistance. And for lower body, get some quad extension in, get some hamstring curls in, and get a squat or a deadlift in, and you'll be well away for that. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be, really.
Yeah. Thank you for the stuff.
You're welcome, mate.
Perfect. Thank you, David, for asking a question. And please don't leave. And we're only really here for 45 minutes. 45 minutes of pure entertainment. Anyone who has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We've got Chris, MVP of the server, very knowledgeable, over a decade plus experience. I see a couple of
MVP,
you here.
but never won it though.
Vote for people. Maybe they'll vote for you.
8. Eight.
Wait, I have voted for you in the past. I swear I have.
That's true. One person's voted for me. Which
And it was the server owner and nobody else, right? Favoritism.
should count for more, you'd think, but it doesn't. So that's
Double points.
we need more autocratic powers in here.
But yeah, if you guys just want to listen, we were pretty much having a conversation previously just about the difference between talent and skill versus just looking big and being strong. Probably a good conversation you can listen through if you don't have any questions. If you do have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. Yeah, so from my perspective, I personally believe that skill, and this is for anyone who's like younger and getting more into like sports and fitness, I think skill outweighs just being big and looking strong. Because nowadays there are a lot of people who just cheat to look big. I know there are people who are vocal about it. I know there are people who potentially lie about it, but it doesn't seem like something that it doesn't seem like it doesn't have the X factor and the special feeling that it does. Maybe for people who are not in shape, going through that pretty much transformation and reaching what you want to be, that seems really good. But when you've hit something really heavy, you don't necessarily feel like that's the end of it. But if you have a talent and a skill that you can work on, so for example, learn how to do like a backflip, handstand. Doesn't even need to be calisthenics related. It could be related to weightlifting. Learn a snatch. Learn some cool tricks. But yeah, I can see someone asked a question. Cool.
We got a typed question, so it's over to me, is it?
Yeah, that's you. Go ahead.
What's up, cool? Thanks for asking the question. I haven't been active for a while, and then suddenly I was active for 2 days, and my knees hurt more now than ever. Just like our comfort zone again, this happened. Okay, so if you've not been active for a long time, the last thing you kind of want to do is rush into it. So it's good to want to be active again, but you haven't said what activities you were doing. I don't know if it's lifting or it's running or something. But take small steps for your knees. Obviously, you only get one set of knees unless they get replaced. So make sure you keep it easy. If you've got pain in your knees, running and stuff, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I would kind of ease into it. Maybe if running is your sport, it's quite difficult. But if running is something you're doing instead for cardio or for fitness, maybe look for something that's a bit less wear and tear in your joints. So something lower impact, say cycling would be better for that. Maybe like a cross trainer, something that can help you build up your fitness, burn a few calories, build up that mitochondrial health without getting too much wear and tear on your knees. Outside of that, I would see a specialist to see if there's actual problem with your knees. If there isn't, and this is again not medical advice, but I would consider you working on your hamstrings, working on your calves, building your quads and a quad extension, and basically just strengthening the muscles around your joints, just to give it much more integrity and support. And you're going to a doctor on Monday. Okay, excellent. Did it out with friends, I had fun. Okay, brilliant then. Yeah. Well, sometimes you kind of need to make the hit, like in life, having a good time with friends, probably worth a little bit of discomfort. So I'm glad you did that. It's probably not a decision you're not gonna regret. So that's great. But yeah, doctor, and then strengthen the muscles around your knees. And again, a doctor's advice will supersede my advice in this because I'm not myself a doctor. But yeah, report back. Actually, I want to hear what they say. And Carolus 2011 says, I think there's a golden spot for everyone. I think going to gym every day and pushing yourself to the limit is not good and unhealthy. Yeah, I think you've got to find out what's good for you. And say, I won't tell you what my current routine is because no one cares, but I'm training much more than I would recommend other people train. But then again, I am 14, 15 years into this. So my tolerance to training volume, I know what I can deal with. And as I tell everyone, there's generally 3 big variables in your training you have to balance. It's intensity, frequency, and volume. And you can only have 2 out of 3 at a time. So I train very often, so high frequency. I try high intensity, but I train quite low volume. So you have to make a balance between the 3 of those. Report back next week. Excellent. Thank you. Cool. Appreciate that. How often do you train here?
5 times a week, but that's just for the gym. I play basketball with friends, sometimes after work, random days. Still in the gym, but not necessarily weightlifting. I try to be active because and I pretty much like to ride my bike everywhere, so cycling. So it's always a weird question to answer Because I know what people
Yeah.
are asking, because they're like, how often do you go to the gym? If it's like specifically going to the gym,
Yeah.
probably like 5 times in a week. But it's how active
I
am
think you
I?
have to,
Sorry, what did you say,
yeah.
Kel?
I think you have to ask, specifically the gym,
Mm,
because like activity could just be literally every single day.
yeah.
Mm.
And I'm one of those
Yeah,
people
which I
that,
think is good.
yeah. I always recommend that to most of, like, if you're new, if you're 16, I think someone said it was 17 that asked the question. Try and be active. If you're struggling with, like, weight loss or fitness or anything in general, the easiest thing to do for yourself is try and be active. That's the first thing you can do. And obviously watch your nutrition, but if you increase your total daily energy expenditure, you can then potentially, start walking into like a good condition mindset. If you're naturally active, if you're someone who you feel like you have to force yourself to go to the gym regularly, then you're in a situation where you go 3 times. This goes back to our discussion. Was it like 1 month or 2 months ago? The difference between motivation and discipline, where there are people who lose
Sure.
motivation after like a couple of days, and discipline always seems to like overthrow motivation. Gio, hello. Do you have any questions? Do you want to chill? Do you want to hang? And he just
No, he's gone.
bro,
You called him out. You scared him away.
bro just
I want to
laughed
say,
as I
just
said his name.
so talking about this, like general activity,
Mm.
I have on my soapbox again, but I've been continuing to do much more cardio recently. So
Mm.
I'm doing probably about 3 to 3.5 hours of zone 2 cardio a week,
Mm.
which doesn't sound like a lot, but to people who don't do cardio at all, it sounds like quite a lot to do. I basically just do half an hour a day.
Mm.
And I will say, I think it's made a big difference, not just to my general body composition, which it has, but to my ability to build muscle as well.
Mm.
Which probably what people tend to think, or used to think anyway, that doing any cardio will kill your gains.
Mm.
Which I think if you do too much cardio, like you drain yourself, yeah, that's going to happen. But if you eat appropriately and you do enough strength training and muscle building,
Mm.
I really think having additional cardio base and the actual conditioning has allowed me to push so much harder in my working sets. Like I'm probably training hard as I've ever trained in my life. And at the ripe old age of 30, I'm still building muscle and still making progress because I think my condition is better and I can also recover from it more as well.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think that's a really underrated part of being in good shape for cardio. It's not just for burning calories. And it's also not just for your health. It actually, I think, helps you build muscle. Like my legs are definitely more muscular than they've ever been because I've done more cardio and because I've actually started doing more muscle building leg exercises rather than just squatting 2 times a week for 10 years.
Mm. Yeah.
So I just think being active in general just makes such a massive difference to your ability to build muscle and health, and my mood as well actually is a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm even more pleasant to be around than usual,
It boosts your confidence as well, because if you're just like statically training, so for example, like doing SBD or doing like PPL or whatever, and you're someone who starts getting involved in general activities, you'll have more of like versatility to do things rather than just being like, oh yeah, I can bench press, or I can squat, or I can deadlift. It's like, oh yeah, I ran 10K the other day. I did a dry triathlon or whatever, and you have more of you just become more versatile in general. So yeah, I always go for that. And I think there was that TikTok trend. I don't know if you saw it, where there were a bunch of people who were like, with that trend in general, a bunch of like fitness influencers and bodybuilders were asked if they could pick between weightlifting and cardio. You could only do one for the rest of your life, whether cardio or weightlifting. And it's weird because people who were like newer influencers were all like weightlifting, but like the vets, people who had done it for like a long time, so like Bradley Martin, I don't know if C-Bomb was asked this, but I think but a few people were asked this. But one thing I noticed, like the vets were always like saying cardio because of longevity and just health in general. But your stance on like helping with your like your legs and stuff like that also makes sense. Welcome, Holmes. Do you have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand if you want to come up to the panel or ask your text questions. Or just listen.
I think you can ask. You can ask questions or suggest a topic and just set off and start talking if you'd rather not have a direct question asked.
Yeah, I'll
I don't
just be
necessarily like that.
talking about the rap beef. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not fitness related, but this
I'm
one
sure you
might
could
as well.
twist it somehow if you wanted to, if you really had to.
Yeah, it's technically exercising. They're exercising their poetry skills, right?
So you did more cardio, you'd have a greater lung capacity, so you could probably, shoot for longer.
Yeah.
You have longer lines and stuff.
And if you're in shape, you'll be healthier, more conditioned to be able to respond instantly in the same way that Kendrick did 1 hour after Drake had dropped his diss track.
Exactly. So less likely to get, this is based on your body or anything. You can just show them up for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very related to anyways, to be honest.
Actually, I've got a good question. I probably know
Right.
the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask it anyway.
Oh,
I see people
softball, Ringo.
training. I see people training their necks, and it's become more popular, especially because of Mike Tyson. And how he's just dropping like his training videos, and then people are starting to look back at his old training videos. He used to do this one weird exercise. I'm not too sure if you've seen it, where he's got his head on the floor, and then he's rolling around in circles. But if you just quickly Google Mike Tyson neck training,
Is it like a neck bridge?
I actually don't know what it's called, but I can just quickly try and get it. Mike Tyson leg training video. But yeah, a bunch of not leg, neck. Did I say leg?
Is it like this doing a plank with his neck?
Yeah, I'll just send the video right here just so it's easy. So I don't.
Yeah.
So
Save me
basically like
finding the wrong
this,
thing.
and then he just starts rolling around. But yeah, because of the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fights, people are showing, doing montages of his training routines, and it's starting to pick up more steam. And I'm seeing it on social media a lot. I just wanted is it like a
yeah.
real? Is it real? I'm guessing boxers might have to do one of those like targeted muscle training.
Yeah, it's definitely real. Like, I can't remember, the guy used to write about it a lot. It'll come back to me later about when I'm asleep. But no, there's definitely merits to doing that kind of stuff. It looks like a variation on neck bridge. So wrestlers do it quite a lot. In America, collegiate wrestling do it. Boxing as well. Yeah, I think it's quite good. I wouldn't start off by trying to roll around on the back of my head. It's not really the best way into it.
Like imagine trying
but
to
it's
do that in a
definitely-
gym. That's just like so
Fucking hell.
suicide, right?
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing you see in my gym, don't worry.
Well, what's the weirdest thing you've seen in your gym?
Oh, I'll have to dig it out in a minute. People hanging upside down on cables, doing the cable exercise people do just wind me up. There's no reason to do them at all.
Okay. What did they do on the cable?
But for the neck exercises, there's definitely merit to it. Like if you're a neck bridge, it's very good for building stability. It's definitely something you want to ease into.
Mm-hmm.
From the video you sent, he's doing it very vigorously, so obviously it's more advanced than things. It would be good for absorbing impact. I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner. You can work up to, I guess, doing the neck bridges. Also, you can get those funny hats you can do, like slide almost crunch with your neck, which are okay to do. I did it once, but it kind of gave me a migraine for about a week, so I'm not going to be doing that myself.
Wait, is that is it like the harness where you add it on your head and you start doing weighted? Like
weighted nods, yeah. Yeah, there's some merit to it. There's definitely merit to it, but I think it's more of a trend thing, with a funky thing. I'm sure Alpha Destiny's done loads of stuff on that before. If he's still a thing or not. Is he still a thing?
Oh, the guy who popularized the BM mode, right?
Yeah.
I think he is.
Alex something, isn't it? Leonidas, maybe?
Yeah, he's still the thing. Most fitness influencers, they just become podcasters.
Yeah, it's definitely the career progression.
Yeah, and it's
definitely the career progression.
I think it's a lot easier for them because there's so much you can cover, and I don't think YouTube or short form content. Well, the good thing about podcasting in general or long form content is that because there's so much you can cover, and if you're one of those people where you want to talk about things in detail, but you don't want to go through like the stress of editing things out or doing all the stuff, you can release long form content and just add timestamps, and then people can find specifically what they want. So I think that's why a lot of them, and it's good because the very I forgot this guy, but there's this one person now I've been watching recently. I'll check my history after this. Very in depth. He's always showing the sciences of things and stuff like that. I saw him on a podcast.
Mhm.
Gosh, why did I forget his name? I even have one of his videos in the commands, but it is what it is. Jeff something. Jeff Nippard.
Caballero or something, is it? Which is
I think that's him. Yeah, Jeff Nippard.
my name, Jeff.
You've heard of him, right?
One more time, Jeff.
Jeff Nippard. Am I pronouncing?
Oh, Jeff Neville. Yeah, of course I have. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
good he's like the good guy version of Alpha Destiny.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I saw him on a podcast because some of his videos are like really long in general, but in the podcast I could just go to the sections I wanted, and you can tell he's one
Yeah,
of those people.
I think he's got some good content, but he is. Oh no, I'm not going to speak ill of another fitness person, but he's not my favorite content producer or
Oh,
guy
who's
for
your
fitness. He's
favorite?
got, STR first.
Wait, is that you? I swear that's you.
Yes.
This dude, what the?
No, my favorite guy for fitness would be. I think this is going to be like an endorsement. I'll say Propane Fitness are good guys. I like Propane. For more powerlifting stuff, I've always liked Ben Rice. He's not really a big fitness guy, like influential and stuff, but he's what got me interested in powerlifting when I started years ago. And he's just a really nice guy. He does powerlifting. He's insanely strong. He plays music. He sings a lot. He's my favorite, probably fitness figure, I guess. He doesn't really do like informational content or anything. But for bodybuilding, I like Eric Helms. He's very clever. Who else do I like? I like Effective Fitness. That's a really good server. I recommend everyone look into that.
Oh yeah. I've heard of them. They're
The best.
absolutely freaking amazing. 10 out of 10.
It's helped me.
Yeah, what did you say, Cap?
I said it's helped me out a lot. You should probably check it out.
Yeah, yeah. We've got non-biased opinion from one of the panelists on the actual podcast. Go ahead, Cap. Give the reasons why Effective Fitness is so amazing. But yeah.
Well, joining Effective Fitness, well, I don't know if you've heard about it, but it genuinely helped me out, as when I was a beginner, it really did seem pretty easy to get into the community and to ask for help. And a lot of people are in there, are experienced, so a lot of people can help you out. And a lot of people have been in similar situations to me. Like, for example, Chris, he also started lifting at 16, so I haven't asked him for help, but similar situation, so I could.
I like it. Oh, I'd say I do actually like for fitness. Steve Hall. Have you heard of him? He runs Revive Stronger.
Steve Hall. Typed in
He's
Steve Hall.
really
and
good.
Came up with Russell Howard.
He runs Revive Stronger. Might work if you. I think he's called Revive Stronger on Instagram. He is
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay. Is his YouTube Longevity Muscle, or is this someone else?
You make it difficult, man.
Oh, sorry, I'm using YouTube, not Instagram. I should probably just use Instagram.
I'm not. He must have Instagram. He must have YouTube. Yeah, Revive Stronger on YouTube.
Oh, it's coming up with. Okay, he's got another YouTube channel. That's nice.
He's got 42,000 subscribers, but he should have many more. He's a natural bodybuilder. He's a fantastic online coach. He's a really knowledgeable guy. So I'd recommend him. He's probably my favorite guy for bodybuilding content in that way.
Oh no,
And
he did a
other stuff.
podcast with Longevity Muscle.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
There it is.
That's cool. That's good. Well,
And I
yeah.
like Chris Duffin for powerlifting. He's great.
Gosh, you know a lot of people.
Man, I've been around for a long time.
Oh yeah,
Fun
and
fact,
also it's
Nick-
your profession, so it doesn't make sense.
What is your profession?
Software engineering, and I couldn't name a single developer. I'm not gonna lie, I hate.
You meant to go Aru, but it's finally.
Like I'm just gonna, I don't know. I mean, there are some people that I've worked with in the past, and you can tell they're actual geniuses. But I'm not gonna lie.
You really get influences? Do you get software influences?
In life, nah. I'm not gonna lie. I hope no one from work sees this. I would just want to do my own project and quit. It's a good profession,
No.
right? I don't want to like put anyone off it, right?
Mhm.
But the problem is if you're a bit like a schizo like me, and you're very eccentric to some sense, you don't necessarily like following orders in general. And the problem with like a lot of industries and working within an actual company is you have to follow
Mhm.
specific procedures. Sometimes you're not
Right.
even like some weeks you're not even fully like coding unless you're doing like hot fixes to fix issues. You're spending a lot of time with clients or like middle management. You're planning things
Right.
out. A lot of boring stuff, which drains
Mhm.
you mentally. And when it gets to the
Absolutely.
coding part, then you have to follow specific coding standards, and then you have to go through code review. And even once you've done that, then you have to go through a debugging process, which is the longest, boring thing ever. It's just basically hours of like going through lines of code and seeing things like checking for errors and making sure the debugger has done its work. And then it goes through code review. And then it's probably someone in like your place of work who doesn't like a certain method you've done or something like a function. And then
I
they're
find that
like,
crazy. This stuff a lot.
yeah, yeah. And they tell you to like, they tell you to pretty
Like it can
much
work,
fix
like
it.
not my way.
Pardon? No, not even
Like
that.
it's
It like sometimes they have valid points, then you have to go through that entire
sometimes they have
process
valid
again.
points.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
so
Sometimes
weird.
they have valid. Sometimes I think some people are bored because I'm thinking to myself, then you have your own work to do. Like, but overall, I like the people I work with on like a personal level. It's just but I
It's
recommend it to
different then.
anyone, right? It's
You're in an
basically
office.
oh no, I work from home. I work remotely. It's basically one of the best jobs you can have. Work remotely. If Brexit didn't mess things up, you could have potentially worked from like Europe or whatever. I think there were people who
Yeah.
used to. They had family
It's Italy now.
internationally. Pardon?
You can go to Italy now. I saw recently you can get a work from home visa for Italy for like a year if you want. You can try that out.
Oh, okay, that's nice. That's nice. Um,
Yeah,
but
it takes
yeah,
Italy. I'd watch that.
yeah. Whenever if you're like a teenager and looking for a profession, if you're one of the people who want something, you get good pay, you don't necessarily have to, worry too much about stability. There's always like spaces available, and you just have to have a good portfolio and experience. Just become a developer, find a programming language that you like. Um,
And is it competitive? Do you have to go to university for this?
Oh yeah, you have to go to university. I'd suggest going either through university or internship, but do something that ensures that you're guaranteed a portfolio with experience. Because nowadays, what a lot of companies are looking for, they're looking for experience. Because although they would want to onboard junior developers, it's one of these weird things, and I think it's like because of the financial crisis, whenever they're onboarding junior developers, you're not necessarily getting a junior developer task. So you'll be onboarded as a junior developer with at least 1 year of experience, which is just ridiculous. So if you do go to university, make sure to utilize that placement year so you do get that experience. If you go through the internship route, make sure you get it good enough of a reference from a good company that you can utilize when you're doing your application, because the references and the portfolio and working in an industry setting is always going to beat someone who's got paperwork where they said, oh, I've got A stars or whatever, or I've got distinction or whatever, but never actually experienced production in an industry in a competitive scene. So that's just
For
my
sure.
stance on it. But yeah, it's good. I'm just moaning because basically I was looking at like an Instagram or was it a TikTok video or whatever of someone who was stacking bricks on their head. Um um and I'm sitting here in the comfort of my chair in my house just complaining about having to work. I just thought about Monday. I'm gonna complain, right? Fuck it,
Anytime I
fuck
hear
it.
that, I just think the Kardashians in the when clip.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure there's
yeah,
just there are people that are dying, and it's just,
yeah. Apparently it's so easy to get rich. I mean, you know what? It depends. I think this should probably be a
it does
debate
it does
topic.
depend.
I think it depends because
I'm up for it.
there's some people who I've seen in life where their father like owns a company, especially people I've gone to school with.
Oh God,
Like
yeah.
it's free
What school did you go to?
education.
God,
I'm not doxing myself.
It's about to go.
And
Yeah, some connections are just unreal.
they've just
It's not the same
they've just made
game.
so many bad choices, and it doesn't make any
Safety net.
sense. No, not even
The
that.
safety
Like
net, though.
they've got a but they're not even. It's not like they're even using the safety nets, which doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me. It's just like
It's
a
a fucking
different
launch
level. Yeah, it's a different level of laziness, and you can have like
Mhm.
full balance in life. Like so, for example, within this week alone,
What's balance?
pardon.
I said, what's balance like?
No. I'll give you a good example. So within this week alone, work 9 to 5. I've also pretty much almost finished the Effective Fitness website. Did a bunch of scheduling for the post on Instagram. Also managing the Discord. Welcome Ben over. Do you have any questions, or do you just want to keep us still talking?
Classic name. Classic name.
Yeah, and he left. Chris, you scared him away. You should have said amazing
scare him
name.
away.
You said
Ah,
and he was like, oh no, they're gonna judge me.
I'll learn for next time.
But yeah, it's all right. I think we peaked the Hampton interview, but don't worry, we'll get people coming back. It just takes time. But yeah, as I was saying, that's a really good balance because I'm able to do that work, and I'm also trying to start up another project. And I think nowadays with all like the utilities that exist, especially there's so many free resources online. Whether you're using Reddit or you're just using Google or you're using like ChatGPT or you're just using other social media networks to pretty much learn from what similar or people you're interested in have done in the past. There's so much that you can learn. And then once you've learned it, just prioritize your time. I see people who are like, oh no, I don't have time to do whatever. But then I'm like, what do you do in your spare time? And most of them are busy like playing random games. And not really doing anything. So,
And
but
there's
yeah,
also a difference.
that's how I balance.
I think there's also a difference between learning and implementing what you're learning. There's so much people spend time reading and learning and self-improvement, and then actually to start the doing part. That's the key part. People get stuck.
Yeah. That's true. Um, I think the doing parts. What's that quote? Is it like the 10,000 hours needs to be invested for you to become an expert or something? I think the doing part comes with experience. I think the first time you do something, it's not going to work, and I think Mr. Beast correctly explained this, where he said that when he first started doing YouTube, his first YouTube video sucked, but he just kept uploading because all you just have to do is change one thing each time, and I think that's the best thing with progress. That's like real life progressive overload.
Yeah, it is 100%. You can't expect it to be, and you also can't give up because you weren't perfect the first time. You need to expect it to be rough and get better. You need to get the bad reps out of the way first.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing with fitness. Sorry, what were you saying, Cap?
Yeah, no, I'm just ignore fitness. Nowadays, like if you fail at something, you're expected to just give up and not succeed. Whereas failure is learning. If you're never gonna fail, you're never actually gonna learn something.
100%.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's true.
I think it's a similar thing. Like I think Yusuf said this from Propane Fitness. It's like writing and stuff. You need to treat it like a sewage pipe, and you need to clear out all the bad stuff before the good stuff comes through. So all the bad experiences, all the bad attempts you have with things, once you get them out of the way, then the good stuff comes after that. You got to clear it out first. You got to get all the bad stuff out of the way first, and then you can start becoming good.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like building a house, to be honest. Even though I've never done one, right?
He says nonchalantly.
Yeah, it's just like building a house, the easiest thing. But yeah, it's just brick by brick. I built this city brick by brick. Yeah, how do you guys balance things out? You guys seem to be very, I think you have good time management, very reliable. So you must have good ways of balancing.
Oh, stop.
I mean, you've not missed a single podcast. So. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, go Cap.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to believe that I have good time management, but like, I don't know.
I think it's all relative. I think it's so easy to compare yourself to other people who have like a hyper busy schedule and are productive all the time. But I think it's just making sure your priorities are your priorities and make sure you sleep. You need to sleep. That's the important thing as well. You
Yeah.
need to be
Yeah,
able to
that's
sleep
the
if you
thing.
don't sleep, you'll get anything done.
Welcome, boy.
Yeah, May's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing when it comes to time management is actually just writing down things you need to do and setting a time frame of what you're going to do and how you need to do it. And there's so many tools to help you with it. Like it's basically on your phone, just simple apps, Google
Yeah.
Calendar or something.
Notes.
Not even it's even notes, something as simple as that. And as
I
long
like
as you're
using
even
notes.
start doing it. And I think someone recently DM'd me something about they're studying for an exam and they're in the same field that I'm in for computer science, and they're talking about like having to memorize so much syntax. I forgot what programming language it was. And I spoke to them like, you're never going to memorize anything in one sitting. That is like, unless you're an absolute genius, it's not going to work that way. What I did
sure.
is I always try to find something I liked, like a small project I liked, and I would give myself the mindset of I just want to do 30 minutes on it. And then every day that I try to dedicate that 30 minutes on it, it would end up being like 1 hour or 2 hours. Because I remember when I was younger, the thing that actually captivated me when it came to like being a developer in general was gaming and clans. This was back in the day where you'd have your forums
Oh,
for
wow.
your clans. Yeah.
Been in the trenches.
Yeah. And I created my first forum. It was called Enhanced Gamers. There's still the Steam, which I think we have like 500 members. I checked it recently. There's still people in the Steam
Oh,
group,
nice.
which is
Legacy.
yeah. Maybe I'll bring it back and just rename it to Effective.
Bring it back.
Gamers. But because I was very interested in that and I wanted our website to look really good, and then we started doing some like ESL tournaments for like Counter-Strike, some League of Legends stuff, some Halo stuff here and there. And just because the competitors' websites were better, that had like a heel, like it gave me like a heel to want to do better. Like I'll look at our website and it's like a simple template and it's got like a PHP plugin for a forum looking PHP BB, and I'm like, oh no, we need something better. We need a better theme, and then I'm using my money just to invest into it to make it better and learning and dedicating time. And I'd only given myself like 30 minutes a day to do this, and this is like straight after school. And it turned out that most of the programming languages that I was using was just like it was scaling up into what my course and module was. So for like my GCSEs,
Nice.
I think I did okay on most things, but when it came to computing, computer science, ICT, and maths, I did fairly well. Just something as simple as that. And that's one thing I suggest to like 99% of people ever. If you ever have a project, 30 minutes. If it's something you're passionate about, just say every day for 30 minutes I'm going to start. If you're truly passionate about it, that 30 minutes is going to turn into like one or 2 hours. And that 1 or 2 hours is going to make a difference in like a year from now, because you look back a year from now and be thankful you started. And that's my stance. Cool. Do you guys have any other talking points? Boya, do you have anything you want to say? Do you want to come up to the panel? Do you want to add any topics? Or are you just listening and enjoying the podcast?
I think the man's already got all the answers, to be honest.
Yeah. I have 3, so don't worry, guys. We've had like 3 viewers on Twitch, so there have been people listening. Wow. Yeah,
starstruck.
Yeah, this goes back to the point, and welcome and thank you to everybody who's listening. This goes back to the point of invest in time. 3. What's 3? What's 3 a year from now, right? 3. That's like 3,000 concurrent viewers. Yeah, at least. But yeah. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? I might just rant about the Kendrick and J. Cole stuff. Although I could probably do that on a different stream. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, I need to run shortly, to be honest. I've been putting off my gym session. I need to do my pressing day today. I can tell you what I'm going to do in the gym if you like. That'd be fun.
Okay, go ahead. Let's at least make the ending fitness related, right?
Exactly. We'll get some of the things at the end. So I've got my new fitness shorts on, so I'm feeling good. I'm going to do incline chest machine on a bench. A really good machine. It's a press machine I found for it, actually. I'm going to do 3 sets. I'm going to do one warm-up set. I'm going to do 2 working sets the same weight, aiming for 10 reps the first set, or trying to aim for 10 sets in 10 reps in the 2 working sets, but I'm probably going to get about 6. I got 5 last time.
Hmm.
I'm going to take 3 to 4 minutes rest between my sets because I want to have good muscle building sets. Then I'm going to take a breather. Then I'm going to go to a chest press machine again. Notice there's a machine again. I'm not actually doing any barbell bench pressing at the moment because I've done that and it's not as good for building my chest.
Mhm.
So I've got another seated chest press machine.
Actually, I've got a
3 working
question
sets
about
there.
that because I see
go on.
C-Bomb using Smith machine. And
Yes.
at a gym that I go to, because I think we've had this conversation where I've told you I go to 2 gyms. I
In a
go to
sense,
Pure
yeah.
Gym and I go to the Powerhouse Gym, where it's like a bunch of like bodybuilding like powerlifters.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, in like the bodybuilding section, they only have like one bench, but they have like a lot of machines. So I wanted to ask a question about that. Is it more effective, wink wink, to use machines, especially I'm guessing because you're training hypertrophy and then you don't have to worry about balancing and any other like weird things that come to training, and you can also
Yeah.
train safer
Yeah, yeah.
because you can train to your limits. So I'm guessing it's better to use machines rather than a flat bench because a lot of like Olympic, and I don't know if this is true, I saw it on TikTok, a bunch of like Olympic
Always on
weightlifters.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. That's why I don't know. I don't want it to get banned at this point in time because I finally figured out how that platform works, and it's literally the best platform if you like understanding audiences. So if you ever want to cultivate an audience and you want to know what works, just create like it can be like your proper TikTok, but just create a random TikTok related to what you want to do, and create content around it and just use the data to see the drop off points, the hooks, where people are interested, read through the comments, and
I think it's
literally,
definitely a good research tool.
yeah, it's basically a free data analysis platform. I mean, China's probably done that purposefully, right? That's a joke, then get me cancelled,
It's
right?
funny how that works.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw that, and apparently, Olympic weightlifters, to get their well shaped chest pause, right? They do a
Mhm,
lot of like cable and machines. They don't
mhm.
necessarily do a lot of like bench pressing. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for just all weightlifters in the world, but
Mm,
I do know that traditionally the Chinese weightlifting team do a lot of cable machines. They do a lot of bodyweight exercises as well, but
mm,
they'll outside of squatting and the main competitive lifts, yes, they'll do a lot of machine work. For a number of reasons. So
mm,
I will say different tools, different uses, but
mm,
I find for upper body at least, barbells are good, they're a good foundation, but for specifically hypertrophy, I do find machines to be more effective. And I also will say I hate dumbbells as a tool for building muscle, which will get me burned at a stake in some communities, but I don't rate dumbbells at all.
okay. Can I ask
Again,
why?
because they're not very stable.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
of
about
course.
to answer it.
Because I know you cut me off midstream, I was about to go into it.
And then drop something as well.
Because they're inherently unstable. Things like people like using for dumbbell incline bench, but you'll expend more energy getting into position in the first place.
Mm,
And it becomes more about stabilizing. And your stabilizers will give out before your chest, which
mm,
means you're not ever really working your chest fully to its exhaustion, really. So I've definitely found for my chest, at least, it didn't grow for a long time until I started implementing more machine exercises, which is a incline chest machine. I like a machine chest press. And I was already strong. Like I was benching well over 100 kilos. I was benching like 40s for the over 40s for the dumbbells. But my chest didn't really grow. My triceps grew. My front delts grew a lot. But I was limited by the stability and my shoulder, basically. So machines, I think, are better because you can target the muscle more specifically, and it's easier. It's safer to fail on a machine as well. So if I'm on my incline chest machine, if I miss a rep, I can drop it. I can go, oh, bugger. It can fall down, but I'm not going to hurt myself. Whereas if I fail on an incline bench, it requires people to spot, and
mm.
there's more at risk.
Okay.
So it's easier to do more effective. I like to do what you could do is if you really want to focus on the big movements, like a powerlifter, you could do your main lifts. So you can't really if you know a powerlifter, you can't really not bench press. That's kind of part and parcel of it.
Mm,
But if you want to build muscle around it, you could do your sets for your powerlifting for bench press, and then do hypertrophy work with machines. And I think it's good for the muscles to get different stimulation as well. So I think everyone should be doing some sort of isolation move just so you don't have any weaknesses. Like if you're a powerlifter, you're doing squats, you're probably going to have weaker hamstrings, you're probably going to have weaker calves. And I don't think having a weakness is ever a strength, which is to really paraphrase Mark Bell there, strength is never a weakness. So I think it's very good for plugging weaknesses, and also it's more, you can target the muscle more specifically. For example, if you want to build big biceps, you're going to have to do some curls. You're probably not going to get the biggest biceps just by doing barbell rows, for example, or chin-ups.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I've noticed. I mean, this is just gym bro science, right? I noticed I'd get more of like a better pump whenever I did cable than bench press. But I did
You
get
did what, sorry?
more of a pump when I'm on, doing the cable machines than a flat bench press.
Yes.
I never
Yeah.
knew why, but I'm guessing it makes sense. I always had like an idea because I prefer doing cable in general because the bench is just always crowded.
Yeah.
I've also like, so for example, if I'm not close to the powerhouse gym and I need to go to like a pure gym or whatever,
Mhm.
it's always crowded around the bench press and it's just cringe.
Mhm.
One thing I hate in the gym, especially if it's like a gym I don't know like most of the people there, is just asking people how long have they got left. Sometimes it
Yeah.
feels like I'm threatening them. It's like, hey mate, how long have you got left? And then I notice is like that person, oh no, I've got one more set. And I'm thinking to myself, I swear you just got here. But I didn't want to say anything because but yeah, it always feels awkward. And yeah, it's always overly crowded. Um yeah, and also the machine section are always rarely used. And I don't know, it just
It's
unless
definitely an ego thing. I
yeah.
think. I also think that building muscle is easier on slightly better on machines because you can't have the same ego about it. Like no one cares what you're doing on a cable curl, for example. Whereas if you're doing a barbell curl, someone's going to think, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's only
a
got
big
like
plate, it's a small
one
plate."
plate. Yeah, he's only doing the
Yeah,
bar and
exactly,
his
and that gets in the
trigger.
way because building muscle isn't about lifting the most weight possible. It's about working as hard as you can in the set,
Oh,
and it's about getting stronger over time. Whereas, for example, I don't really care what weight I'm moving on a incline machine bench press because I've got no reference point. It doesn't matter to me. I just know I'm working the muscle. Whereas if I was on an incline bench, I think right that I'm going to have, I normally bench this much weight, and so incline can weight that much weight, and this rep means I should use this much weight. The ego gets in the way, and you focus more on the weight and the number rather than actual building the muscle.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Another question. Sorry to keep you. Would you say
Yeah.
that I don't know? Would you say that maybe social media? But before I get to this question, I'm also going to answer it myself. Potentially not
Mhm.
just social media because bench press has always been like a staple. Maybe bodybuilding science, but then most bodybuilders don't even use flat benches. They do
Mhm.
barbell training. Um, so it's weird. Like, where do you think like the huge interest in? I'm guessing, well, powerlifting has not necessarily been like a really popular sport up until recently. If I'm going to be honest, I think especially during the
Yeah.
era of like Arnold, a lot of people cared
Mhm.
about bodybuilding. They didn't care about because digital media is what popularized powerlifting. If I'm going to be honest, because there's still some
Yeah.
powerlifting records in like local counties, especially in England, that anyone can smash because there's no one paying to compete, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's like still fairly new. But my main question is like, what do you think like the interest and the popularization of flat benches relative to other training styles? Because there is the meme of people doing you know training chest with a Smith machine, where that seems a bit like a meme because I'm guessing like it's ego being involved. But yeah, I think that's the pinpoint of my question. Like, where would you
Yeah.
think the
I think it's
popularization came
interesting.
from? Hmm.
I mean, I think bench press. Well, I don't think it was actually originally in powerlifting because powerlifting wasn't as we know it today.
Hmm.
But I think bench press is very accessible. I think it's a very simple piece of equipment everyone can compare themselves quite simply on.
Hmm.
And it feels good to blow up your chest, have a
Hmm.
good chest pump. Um, yeah, I think powerlifting. Well, bench press is very associated with manliness, and I think has a lot to do with Arnold and lots of other people like that growing up, when machines weren't really as sophisticated or as efficient.
Hmm.
I think you're absolutely right. Powerlifting's only really blown up in the last, well, when I started lifting, powerlifting wasn't popular at all. So in the last, say, 10 years or so, it's completely blown up as his social media.
Mm.
And I don't think there have been that many advances in powerlifting, really, to be honest. I think there's lots of differences in more chemicals for bodybuilding. I think there's more available of knowledge on bodybuilding.
Mm.
I don't think powerlifting's really made massive strides in the last, like you said, records have been left for the last 30 years, for example.
Mm.
I couldn't really tell you, to be honest. I don't know why it's such a cultural zeitgeist. I guess it's a very simple exercise. It's not like a squat when you have to have mobility or worry about hitting depth. A bench press, you go down, hit your chest, you extend your elbows, you're done, aren't you? It's quite
Yeah.
simple, universal, and I guess
It's
I
weird.
don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's weird because I would have
You've
thought
got an
that
answer.
machines. Yeah, I'm already answering this. Yeah, sorry. I would have thought the machines are easier. And welcome to everyone who's joining. If you do have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. If not, feel free to listen through. We're just talking about what pretty much popularized powerlifting and bench presses specifically. Personally, in response to what you said, Chris, I think that I would have thought the machines are easier because when it comes to like training chest, if I was to just sit down on a machine that basically no one in the gym's using, then there's like the bench press that's like downstairs because it's like a two-story. Hello Datsu, how are you doing? It's like pretty much a two-story gym. It's a lot easier, more convenient to just go to the bench press machine. I don't have to unrack and re-rack weights. I can just unhook the vice or whatever that thing is, put whatever I need to do my warm-up set, and then start progressively like adding it. And there's so many machines that are very there's this one at the Powerhouse gym. It's like it's shaped like a bench press, but it's a machine, and the handle isn't flat. It's like curved but going upwards to your arm, so you can get, especially if you're tall, you can get that full range of motion all the way to the bottom of your chest. But because it's a
Nice.
machine, if you're lifting really heavy and you fail, because it doesn't connect from the left hand to like the right hand, there's space in between. So if you fail,
Right.
you can just pretty much let go and it just drops.
Oh, perfect. I want this machine.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it. Actually, I'll show you a video
Yeah, please do.
of the gym on Instagram. But yeah,
Nice.
it and I'm started. I mean, maybe it's just like getting older and wiser. And I don't have anything
Oh,
against
terrible.
powerlifters, but I think there's
I
just
do.
so much. No, I have nothing against powerlifters. I think there's just so much. I think there's just so much like ego around it, especially as someone who comes from
100%.
and for most people who don't know like my background in sports in general, I was competing on like a county level since I was like 16 in track. So someone who's competed in a highly saturated sport, like at
Competitive
16,
sport.
you set your school record, you set your your county record, you start trying to go for like regional records and stuff like that, and then you feel like you're nothing, right? It's so saturated. Something that you thought was so amazing, you're just like a needle in an haystack. You're unnoticed, right? And I'm thinking to myself, there's so much ego around the sport, and I'm guessing maybe because I blame TikTok, right? Because there's always like these weird TikTok trends where it's like I still love
Instagram first, then TikTok.
yeah, I still love the platform. Where there's like all these like weird stuff like oh, is that your boy? I bet your boyfriend can't bench this or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
benching more than your boyfriend or whatever. I don't know. All these weird things like
It's not three plates. Yeah.
yeah. It's like deadlifting the average Gymshark female athlete's body weight or something like that. There's always like all these like kind of like weird toxic like aspect towards it. But I think it's because it's such a the popularity is getting there. There are people starting because each post that I'm seeing like every week, I'm seeing someone setting a new world record. And then I'm seeing people who are like, no, I set my regional record or stuff like that. But you're setting your record for something where there's only like 3 people competing, right? Set a
The
record
third
where
person to lift it.
yes, set a record where because I can remember, and this is why I hate the competitive scene. I can remember my first proper regional qualification for track, and this was I think I was about 17, and I heard there were scouts there, and I'm also, this is like I'm doing my A levels. At that point, it was still A2, because I think now it's all just in one. Yeah, there
I
was
don't
like
know. I'm too old for that.
yeah,
I'm
there
30.
was
I don't know.
yeah, there was AS and then it was A2. So first year you did AS and then next year you did A2.
That's right.
And I'm getting like performance anxiety because this could literally be the difference between like getting a scholarship into a good university. I'm also having like butterflies in my stomach because I just had an exam like 3 days ago and I'm legitimately sick because I think
Grief.
I failed it.
That's a lot.
And then you see that there's this one guy who is practicing on the track and he's already beating your record for his warm up. And he's gone back to sit down and you're thinking to yourself, like, yeah, it's crazy, right? And then you look behind you and you see that there's a huge queue of other kids who are around your age, registering to make sure that they've registered so they can, get there. Because you get your number plates, you get your whatever, your what's it called, your vest and whatever. I can remember that, probably one of like the most scariest day of my life. And I'm looking at all these people who were competing, like, oh yeah, I set the world record for X, Y, and Z. It's like there was only 3 people there. Try and do it when there's like hundreds of people there, and you basically
it's a big little fun thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you turn behind
Massively
you,
so.
and and I think that's why a lot more sports like that, there's like humility there, especially in combat sports. There's a lot of humility there,
God,
and
yeah,
you see it in like the UFC and like MMA in general,
Obviously.
because no one holds the belts for so long. Like I'll give an example. One of my favorite fighters is Israel Adesanya. He was so good. He was literally beating everyone when he first started. He held the belts for so long, and Alex, I can't pronounce his last name, but Alex Pereira or whatever his last name is, he comes in. He used to be a kickboxing world champion. He used to face Izzy back in kickboxing, and in a couple of fights, he's already fighting Izzy for the world championship in the UFC, and he knocks Izzy out flat cold. And you're like, someone like Izzy, his personality makes sense, where he's like, he's 6'4" or 6'5". He's casually nice with everyone he talks to. He talks about anime and all these things. There's no ego with like joking about, anime and stuff like that, because he knows, he's only the best now. He could lose the belt anytime, and he did. And he lost it not once but twice. And that's the thing. I think when there's a higher stake of competition, you're more humble because, some nights it might not be your nights, and sometimes it's just fate. But yeah, going back to what actually started this conversation, I think yeah, this is why podcasting is great for me. You know how I said there are some people who, to get one point across, they might need to stretch out the entirety of the conversation, which is cool because while talking to Hampton, I was talking to him, after the podcast and also before you joined, I realized he's a lot like me. He likes to rant, and I also like to rant as well.
You guys like to get on a roll.
Because it's good. It makes for good conversations. If you ever been in a conversation with someone who's just so direct, you're just scared to say anything. It's like, oh yeah, the weather's nice today. It's like, yes. It's like, oh, okay. What else am I gonna say to this person? Like normally it's like an opener. It's like, oh, the weather's nice today, and they're like, oh yeah, it was chucking it down when I was about to drive here. Really? So, and that builds up like a conversation. But people who are instantly direct, I can't engage with them because it's like, oh, you look nice today. Thanks. And they just stand there and stare at you.
You can fill the gaps. It's fine. Just fill in the gaps.
Yeah, that's why you're so easy to talk to. Anyway, bench presses, right?
Wow.
Yeah, bench presses. Yeah, so
I think it's ego. It's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so anyone who feels like you can't bench the bar, just use the machine. Like, just
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't stress yourself out. Yeah.
Oh,
and Chris,
nothing wrong again. What was it before?
Go ahead.
What about to say?
I'm going to interrupt you again.
I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with being a beginner. Everyone starts as a beginner.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's been an hour. I can keep going ranting. So anyone who's on Twitch, all 3 of you guys, actually it's 5. Thank you, and it's dropped to 4. Please follow.
You just stop acknowledging people.
Yeah, I think when it's like, oh wow, they can see me. It was like, oh, I'm just lurking. You go lurking, it's okay. Just please make sure to follow. And this is pretty much the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for
Yeah, thanks for
joining.
listening, everyone.
I probably will stream. Thank you, Boya, Datsu, and the 3 other people who or 1 other person who left, or everybody who joined. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks, Cap. Thanks, Chris. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we end? Remember, this
No,
is
it's all
going
good. I
straight
think
to
you managed to put it all
YouTube,
out.
so thank your moms, your dads, family, your friends.
I'd like to thank Aaron for having me
Oh
on this
gosh,
wonderful podcast
this
once
guy
again.
doesn't stop talking, does he? Right? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Chris. Enjoy your gym session. Thank you, Cap.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your
Good
day.
evening.
And thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I need to remember to stop the stream. Do.